In this tutorial, we will learn how to create a truss structure. Using this as the reference, we will create 2 points, connect them, form a curve, find a midpoint, which we will copy or move in the z direction to a distance h1. We will again copy or move the point into 2 points in 2 sides at a distance h2. Then we will connect the points to create the curves. Without further ado, let's dive into the tutorial. Start by creating 2 points in Rhino and then link to Grasshopper using the point component. Use a line component to connect the 2 points. Use curve middle component to create a point in the middle of the line, move the point in the z direction, and use a number slider for height. Connect the 3 points using interpolate component under curve spline. While holding shift, connect the 3 points to form a curve. Using the 3 points, create a plane using plane 3 points component that we will use to generate a normal vector, z. They'll be perpendicular to the 3 points and points on the curve. Using deconstruct plane component, we can obtain the plane x, y, and z vectors, which we can use to visualize their directions on other points of the curve. Use a number slider and division component to create a factor of h1 that we will use for h2, height of the 2 points. Use the panel to preview the height h2 output that is a result of dividing height h1 with a number from the number slider component. Using an expression component, create 2 functions that will generate a positive and negative h2 that will multiply with the z vector perpendicular to the plane and the curve. Create an expression x plus y, that we will use to move or copy the point to the distance h2 in the positive side. Create another expression with a negative function minus x plus y, that we copy or move the point the distance h2 in the negative side. Connect h2, which is output of division component, to x input of the expressions and add one using panel or number slide components for y. Multiply the height outputs of both sides with the z vector of the plane. Using the xy plane normal z vector, we can move the point at distance h2 in normal z direction. Create a translation vector by adding the result with a normal z vector, which we will use to move the point on both sides. Use interpolate component to join the points to create curves. Divide the curves into points using divide curve and number slider components. Preview and organize the data structure using graphed component and connect points of the curves with the line component. Since the gap becomes smaller towards the end of the curves, we will use sublist, construct domain, and number slider components to exclude the first and last portions of the curve, regions where gap is small. The sublist component inputs a domain. So using our set number of points number slider, we will create a domain from 2 to the set number minus 2 to exclude the part toward the edges where the gap is small. Connect a panel to visualize the data structure of the points in the curves and use graph component to create individual branches for the points. While holding Shift, connect curves to pipe component to transform and give them thickness. Create a circle using circle component. Make subdivisions using divide curve. Use offset to create another curve and set its diameter using a number slider. Divide the curve into similar subdivisions. Flatten the output to create a similar tree structure and connect the output to a graph component. Using circle points as inputs to our previously created 2 points, we can create this parametric truss structure. We can adjust height by moving the slider height, H1. Let's create a floor surface by flattening the output using loft component. At this point, feel free to explore and use different component to create different outputs designs. For example, I have used a number slider and a shift component to add or remove some parts of a structure. For those interested, you can find a script file in the description. If you found this tutorial helpful, don't forget to like, leave a comment, subscribe, and share. It really helps me know what content you enjoy and allows me to bring you more tutorials like this. Your support means a lot to me. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.